I'm a roofer by trade, and as a young man, started my business with an ethic of fairness and hard work, and the common sense to get the job done right. That was 40 years ago, right here in our community. Now Perry Roofing employs more than 100 people in the area. People I learn from every day. People that I'm proud to know. I want you and everybody in North Central Florida to have the ability to be creative and build a life full of opportunity and accomplishments. That's why I want to represent you in the Florida Senate, to make a difference and get results. I'm Keith Perry. I'm just a regular guy, but I've got the common sense and determination to get things done for you, for all of North Central Florida.
Paid for by Keith Perry, Republican, for Florida Senate.
All right, thank you. 20 minutes after 8 o'clock, and guess who's on the phone? Keith Perry's on the phone. Hey, Keith, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I love what you say in that commercial. Can I just comment on that just for a second? Because we live in a world right now, I don't know why, but everybody is clamoring for an entitlement. You know what comes to mind? Do you remember the song, the story, the musical West Side Story? There's a song, Everything's Free in America. Well, no, you got to work for it. It's not free. Oh, my gosh. I love the fact that you started out with a little idea for a business and built it. And that's what we all have. We all have the opportunity to do that. And so that's why I like that commercial.
Well, we have less and less, though, is on the unfortunate part. If you think about that, and we'll just take the one biggest thing that I think a lot of progressives or leftists are running on, which is healthcare. The reality is they don't care about the cost of healthcare. All they care about is shifting the cost of healthcare. They're not willing to work and do the what's necessary to say, why is healthcare so expensive? So what we're going to do is just give the federal government more authority, more ability, more money, and that'll make all our problems go away. We just give free stuff from the government to them, and we all know how efficient the government is administering things. But think about that. The left has constantly brought up things about trickle down economics. What I think what they're doing is trickle down opportunity. And as the government gets stronger and bigger and more controlling, when it controls all of healthcare, which I believe some of them want to do, that means less opportunity for you and I, and certainly in that endeavor, in the healthcare field, to be all regulated and run by the biggest businesses in the United States.
That's right.
And it will leave the opportunity for individuals to start their own businesses and be creative. It'll leave them out of that opportunity.
When two people have differing ideas on how a goal can be met, and they listen to each other with respect, they notice the intelligence, and one of them realizes the other one is right. This is where I don't get it. I don't get why nobody sits down with the other side, and instead of throwing barbs at each other, they listen.
Well, and I think that's unfortunate. No, and look, and I think a little innately we all understand, or we should, that we're biased. The problem I think that we have is that when we're unwilling to listen, learn, grow, we cut off intellectual learning, and we get talking points. So this is 4 years ago, and we're back on this Medicaid expansion thing. This is 4 years ago. Yeah. I had a medical doctor in academia at the University of Florida come to my office and say, Representative Perry, you need to expand Medicaid. 7 people a day are dying in the state of Florida. I went through 10 or 12 minutes of studies from the University of Virginia, from the University of Oregon, from the Colorado Hospital Association, all kinds of stats and data about how bad this was in a multiple of ways. And he's staring at me and he's listening. And at the end of the conversation, he says, Representative Perry, you need to expand Medicaid. 7 people a day are dying in the state of Florida. It was a talking point.
There you go.
And he didn't engage me. I would have loved to have engaged the guy and listened to him. He's in the medical field, and engage him on what we can do and what we can work on. But he was unwilling to do that. He just had a talking point.
Right.
I'm sticking to my talking point. Let's not confuse me with any kind of facts.
Oh my gosh! It sounds like being a candidate or an elected official is the same as being a talk show host. I had a guy the other day trying to tell me that the election process in Florida was unfair. And I said, well, if it is unfair, then it's unfair for everybody. Whatever it is for everybody. I don't understand how you think it's unfair to the Democrats and not to the whatever it is, it's for everybody. I don't even get that whole argument. So,
well, and if he wants to bring that up, bring up the facts and the point, and then how do you fix it? If you make broad statements,
exactly.
Yeah, then how do you even address that? That's just making these statements with no questions behind them, no answers behind them, no insightfulness behind it, not being inquisitive, just making statements.
Yeah. So how is the campaign going? Are you getting excited? I mean, we're almost there.
We don't, at this point in the game, we don't get excited. It gets a little stressful. We had a new motto. It says, we're operating in success mode, not stress mode.
There you go.
But it gets down, we take this seriously. There's a lot on the line. We have an incredible group of interns and volunteers and staff. A matter of fact, I had to tell them the last two nights, 10 o'clock at night, they're still here. And I've got people stuffing envelopes, and they've been here since 8 in the morning, and it's 10. And I'm telling them, of course, I'm being self-serving because I want to go home. They need to leave too. So, but it gets we're down to the wire. We're working hard. We've knocked on over 70,000 doors since the campaign started. We've made over 60,000 phone calls.
Wow.
We've done a lot of work.
Well, all of that work has led to you have a reputation of being very accessible. And I was telling Robin, I said, a candidate that is accessible is also going to be the elected official that is accessible. And I know you've been that already. I'm just saying that in general, that's the way I look at it. And that's what we want. I mean, you're supposed to be there for us, representing us, so...
Well, and I don't know if I said this last time. I've said this, and I tell people, I talk to groups all the time. I talk to individuals. I tell them to reach out to my office, to call me. And I've said that, that some people have said, well, we don't want to bother our state senator. And I've told them with sincerity, if you're bothering your elected officials, then you need to get new ones, because that's what our job is, to represent you.
I like that, yeah.
We can't represent you if we don't know what issues are affecting you.
At the risk of maybe sounding redundant, can you speak to those who've never heard of you? I don't know that that's even possible with this listening audience, but on the possibility that that's true, tell everybody who you are, Keith.
Sure. Grew up in Gainesville. My father was a professor at University of Florida. A brother and sister graduated UF. Schooling was not my thing, and so high school I got out, and I wasn't going to go to college. I thought maybe later I would go, but wanted to be outside. I'd learned roofing as a trade in high school, working in the summers. So it was just a job. I was just looking for something to do. Worked for a guy for about 6 months, and he ended up moving to Atlanta, so I had to find something to do and started a little roofing business. It was a few months shy of my 18th birthday, and 42 years later, that's what I've done from a business side. I've started a prison ministry with some other people 23 years ago called House of Hope in Gainesville, where we take men who are being released from prison, provide them housing. We have a home and structure and a lot of strict guidelines, but a lot of rules, but a lot of mentorship and so forth. 7 years ago, we expanded that to women's. So we take women getting out of the county jail and out of Lowell prison and some of the other prisons, trying to, again, we have an issue with people who've been incarcerated, and it's called becoming institutionalized. Sure. You and I will make 500-600, maybe more decisions every single day. What color socks are you going to put on? And you just start making decisions. What do you eat for breakfast? In prison, you may make 15 to 20 decisions a day.
Is that right? Wow.
And so you're not capable. You get out, you're articulate, you can speak, but things that you and I would really take for granted, they lack. And so we see this huge recidivism rate of people getting back in trouble. So we have to have a way. It's a fiscal thing where we certainly save a lot of money to the state and taxpayer, but also it's a public safety. By the time people recidivate and go back to prison, they've created usually multiple crimes, meaning multiple victims. And so I've seen this as a way that it's really important that we have some of these things in place to protect you and I and give people a second chance.
Yeah. For those who want to know more about Keith, Keith's your website is votekeithperry.com, correct?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Tell us the area, District 8. What does it cover?
It's all of Alachua County, all of Marion County, all of Putnam County, the city of Ocala north, and it kind of curves up, so Highway 40 mainly, the city limits, and then Highway 40 north.
Okay. And so you know who you're talking to. And what do you take to Tallahassee that you've learned from already having done this? What needs to continue being done?
Well, look, the process is dominated, and I voted for term limits, and I'm for term limits. The downside of term limits are that you lose a lot of knowledge from the people who are up there, but you leave it with lobbyists and staff. And so one of the things that's helpful, once you get some experience, is understanding how to control and not give power away to unelected people. And so we're going to go up there. I've got and I'm not saying staff is bad or lobbyists are bad. I'm not painting a broad brush like that. What I'm saying is you cannot have too much power in the hands of unelected people. So that's a kind of a general thing. One of the things we've worked on and done every single year is we've cut regulations that were redundant or excessive and didn't serve the public good. We've cut taxes every year. You're going to see that continued. I'm hopefully. I think certainly the governor's race is going to play a lot into that on if bills get passed or vetoed by the governor. But that's our big thing is how do we improve? I mentioned at the very beginning, how do we improve an environment where people don't expect things for free? What they expect is an opportunity to go out there and work and be creative and make a living, and not just have a job. I think that it's good to look at unemployment rates and say, okay, they're low and that's good, but it's more important, I think, or just equally as important, to look at not only do you have a job, but do you have a job that you can be productive at and enjoy doing. And that's harder to do when we're regulated into some menial tasks or some jobs that don't allow you to do that. So opportunities, education, early childhood education has been one of my biggest focuses. Vocational training, some of the things that don't get a lot of attention right now is what I've been doing for the past several years, and will continue to do.
Real quickly, a non-political thing. How did your family do through Hurricane Michael? Were you guys up in Tallahassee at that time or no?
No, and we won't be back until after the election. So we were here in town, and thankfully, it did come this way. That was pretty amazing, and we've been working and dealing with some of our colleagues up in the Panhandle on how we can help and some other things that we're able to do. But we're fine.
Well, your constituents, you would be proud of them. I mean, they're coming into us to ask us to get the word out about a drive they're having for food and clothing and materials, and it's just an amazing voluntary thing that, just people organizing their own efforts. So you'd be proud of your constituents. Senator Keith Perry, it's an honor to be able to say you're a friend. Thank you for being on the show with us.
You bet. Thanks a lot. Take care now.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen. As fall approaches, it seems our taste